Like centre court battles, issues in tennis heat up. Maria knows all about it because she got special treatment after a drug ban. What about those mugs who can't stop Roger in his mid-30s? And can we ever forgive Nastase for his nasty ways? Nah, because this is the burning issue. Her drug ban shook the world, and its end was almost as controversial. Was Sharapova's return to tennis fair? It was as though it went in slow motion. 15 months in hibernation, serving a doping ban in 2016 and 2017. Tennis glamour girl Maria Sharapova readied herself for a return to the top of the women's game. After testing positive to meldonium, often referred to as maldronate. During the Australian Open in February of 2016, Sharapova quickly jumped to her own defence.
On January 1st, the rules had changed and meldonium became a prohibited substance, which I had not known. I take great responsibility and professionalism in my job every single day, and I made a huge mistake.
So up until January 2016, the substance Sharapova was taking was legal. But she's right, she did make a huge mistake. An athlete of her standing should be all over this stuff, or at least get someone else to do it for her. It was a diabolical blunder for such a seasoned player. A dumb brain fade that cost her dearly. At least she had more time to hit the gym during her 15-month sojourn from the sport.
I gained a whole new perspective on working out and sort of what kind of goals you have for yourself and for your body. You want to maintain and you want to have a good base for when you get back on the court.
And do some other stuff.
I went to Coachella last year, which, I mean, which if you think it was a year ago, I was like, oh, so this is what this is about? There's 120,000 people doing drugs that I'm not aware of. And completely being out of my element. I was like, okay.
Well, at least the irony wasn't lost on her. She made headlines while she was killing time, so it's no wonder things blew up when she returned to competition. That after the break. Maria Sharapova's 2017 return proved the most testing period of her career. Outside the top 200 in the rankings, wildcards her only saving grace. But they were not always forthcoming, nor were the musings of her peers.
I don't think that's right, you know. She's a cheater, and so to me, I mean, I don't think a cheater in any sport should be allowed to play that sport again. You know, it's so unfair to all the other players who, you know, do it the right way and are true. So, yeah, I think from the WTA it sends the wrong message to young kids, you know, cheat and we'll welcome you back with open arms.
While Eugenie raised a valid point with regards to the integrity of tennis moving forward, it was perhaps a little over the top to suggest Sharapova be given the boot for life. Her return via wildcard at Stuttgart, where she eventually reached the semi-finals, was delayed because the first round of the tournament still fell during her banned period. Easy fix? Just delay Maria's match to accommodate her. After getting her head around the apparent ins and outs of rolling out the red carpet for a returning drug cheat, Bouchard backed up her feisty remarks a week later in Madrid, duly dispatching Sharapova in their second-round grudge match. A point had been proven, yet the outside noise still did not waver.
I think she's, of course, a great player. I don't have nothing against her, but well, she made her mistakes for sure. I think she can return to play, but without any white cards, any help, but just to play. And for me, probably she will play 2 tournaments, 3 tournaments, will be top 30 for sure.
Some, like sweet and amicable Belgian Kim Kleisters, were even on her side. Kind of.
She has done her time and she's done her punishment. You know, I was disappointed and surprised, you know, when the news came out. But I think now she's done her, you know, her punishment, and she's starting, you know, her career with 0 ranking, and she has to build her way up anyway.
Sharapova has been a promoter's dream since she burst onto the WTA scene in 2001. She's made millions from Nike, with whom she's had a partnership since she was 11 years old. Porsche, Head, and Evian. During her doping demise, she lost sponsors, including Tag Heuer and Avon. But her fan base is significant. She commands attention wherever she goes, and the game needs her. Even Boris Becker seemed to understand Maria's market value.
She's one of the biggest women in sports. You can't criticize the tournaments. You know, she's the biggest attraction.
Becoming somewhat fed up with all the attention, running into one of her favorite reporters probably wasn't ideal for Maria.
That king from the sun. Maria.
Oh, God.
So, nice to see you too. The players who have...
I don't think the Sun has ever been in Stuttgart, have they?
No, it's
no,
lovely.
First time, wow. Virgins.
Whatever you might think of Sharapova, she must be commended for the level at which she returned. She was prepared for success, whatever path she was forced to take. Whether you believe she was gifted a free ride is one thing, but her record before the doping ban speaks for itself. Perhaps some well-earned petrol tickets to spend when facing her most dire moment of need. Confidence, reputation, and perhaps her career in ruins, she returned with grace and purpose. She truly showed her mettle in the face of widespread condemnation and a hostile locker room environment. A champion person? We'll leave that for you to decide. But a champion competitor? No doubt. Once a rebellious ratbag, now a legend with a heart of gold. Has Agassi become the best guy in tennis? Andre Agassi is a giver. If you want proof, then listen to this.
I think, first of all, we can talk about athletes, and we can talk about people, society. I believe everybody has an obligation to connect to their circumstances in a way that benefits more than just their environment, that has a reach that affects the next generation.
His early reputation as somewhat of a hooligan precedes him. But perhaps in his older age, despite the humanitarian views, some of that hooligan still burns inside of him. Still, he is considered one of tennis's good guys, a softly spoken legend of the game. The 8-time Grand Slam champion is more concerned with what good he does off the court than on. Yes, he got a little rambunctious from time to time, but ultimately, his heart of gold has shone through. Is Agassi now one of the best blokes ever to grace the sport? Maybe he doesn't give himself enough credit, but perhaps the secret of his humility lies with his wife. 22-time Grand Slam winner Steffi Graf. Marry someone who beats you at everything. If she leaves me, I can take half, he said. Or is he one of the best blokes in sport, period? In 2001, Agassi was named USA Weekend's most caring athlete. But why? Because of this, that's why. One of Agassi's biggest passions is educating disadvantaged youth. And his charitable foundation, launched in 1994, did a body of good work in the 1990s. Agassi's vision to build a school culminated in the completion of the Agassi Prep Campus in 2007. It's no surprise he was drawn to Graf, who has her own profound philanthropic pulse. Her Children for Tomorrow Foundation has been helping traumatized kids since 1998. But did Agassi adore tennis? Perhaps not as much as you might think, if this quote from his autobiography is anything to go by. It's lonely. No one to talk to, no one to pass the ball to, he said. Maybe he's more suited to coaching, where he can work alongside a player, contribute to their success, and feel part of a team. When he took over as Novak Djokovic's mentor in 2017, the Serbian champ recognized a heart of gold in the Las Vegas kid.
He likes to talk about things that are very deep inside, the human being. So, kind of surface that out and try to get to know you.
Great plan.
A man who has given so much back. A man who gets the best out of himself and tries to get the best out of others. What a guy. Up next, yes, Roger Federer is probably the best male tennis player ever. But winning Grand Slams in his mid-30s? That's an issue. Roger Federer pulled off the seemingly impossible when he claimed his 18th major at the 2017 Australian Open, beating his greatest rival and fellow Fountain of Youth thief Rafael Nadal in a 5-set epic final, likely to be talked about until the end of tennis. This was a Roger who had only just returned from 6 months out recovering from knee surgery, and he was pinching himself.
I do feel like I'm on cloud 9 still. This one, maybe it's a bit of a fairy tale. When I came back, it was an absolute dream comeback. I couldn't believe it. Dreaming, yes, absolutely.
Let's face it, fairy tales and cloud 9s and dreams are the words of someone who, on paper, probably knew he shouldn't have been there. Yes, it's Roger Federer, and he is arguably the greatest male tennis player ever. But Fed winning Grand Slams in his mid-30s once again raised the question, where the heck has the rest of the world been? And by the rest of the world, we of course don't mean Rafa, nor can you question the challenge Novak Djokovic or Andy Murray have offered over the years. But Murray, who'd only just stepped into the world #1 position, flopped out in round 4 in Melbourne to Misha Zverev, who then went on to get done by, yep, Roger Federer in the quarters. It had Murray looking to rub shoulders with judo champion Teddy Rinier in hope that a bit of magic would rub off and his form would return. Second-ranked Novak Djokovic also completely gassed things, going down to Uzbek wildcard, aka nobody, Denis Istomin in the second round of the Oz Open. Roger's compatriot and fellow 30-something Stan Wawrinka did give the champ a nudge in a 5-set semi. But again, Stan, Murray, Joker and Nadal are such well-trodden territory. Thomas Berdych failed to deliver at the Australian Open, as he's done so many times, going down to Federer in the 3rd round in straight sets. But what about Kei Nishikori? Almost 10 years Federer's junior. Roger outlasted him over 5 sets in their round 4 clash. Or where was big, strong Milos Raonic? Nope, couldn't get past Roberto Batista Agut in round 4. We could bang on about the generation of guys even younger, like Nick Kyrgios or Alexander Zverev. While both are genuine talents, they're just in such a vastly different league to the group who came before them. You also have to consider the way in which Federer won his 18th slam. You'd think the prospect of 5-set slogfests would have had him begging for mercy. But rather than run crying, Roger saw the brutality as an opportunity.
I went through a year where I didn't play any 5-setters an entire year. You could think that that's a good thing for longevity, but it's not a good thing because you don't know how it feels to play a 5-setter anymore.
While 2017 was remarkable, Federer has had even more epic ding-dongs over the years, including the brutal 4-hour, 17-minute 2009 Wimbledon final against Andy Roddick, when he surpassed Pete Sampras for 15 Grand Slam titles. So he's no stranger to the pain, although he admitted after Melbourne the aches might not have been from tennis and rather the after party.
My legs hurt like mad and my back's stiff now too because I couldn't take any treatment. Didn't take any treatment, plus I was dancing, so I don't know. I guess, okay, I'm still on the high.
But you know what? If a Grand Slam at 35 did seem like a dream to Federer, we were reminded just how real his genius was when he went on to win Indian Wells and then Miami, where he again beat Rafa in the final. What is Federer's late career success saying about the rest of the world? Well, the thing is, it's no recent phenomenon. Way back in 2011, legendary 8-time Grand Slam winner Andre Agassi reflected on the lack of male success coming out of his homeland, America.
People would be asking us the same questions, which is, what's wrong with American tennis? And we'd be giving you the same answer. We'd be saying Federer and Nadal is the problem with American tennis.
It also has to be said that Rafa's Australian Open final appearance and his dream run through the clay court season later that year was the act of a, well...
Colossus. Have you seen those forearms?
Really big?
Huge, man, yeah.
Of the Federer phenomenon, Andy Roddick probably put it best.
A lot of words have been said about how great it is, and I don't know that they're enough.
He also hinted towards the forces at play, carrying Roger into long life.
I think he's a generational talent that, you know, if his body holds up, he has so many different options with the way he can play as far as spins and serving and volleying and staying backs. It's not that surprising to me, but I'm still just sitting back in awe.
And Roger's fans agree.
Artistic, just beautiful to watch, graceful, exact combination of finesse and power, just a pleasure to watch.
Best line play at its finest, it's, yeah. It's just a joy to watch.
The man himself, who rode atop the world for so long, also revealed an extra secret to his return to form.
Yeah, why not, for a change? I mean, I prefer to be the favorite, but underdog is okay. Yeah, no, it's fine, you know, as long as I'm healthy and I feel like I can go 4 or 5 sets, I can, you know, go many matches in a row, then I think it's going to be fun.
6-time Grand Slam champ Boris Becker made even bigger claims.
I rate him as one of the greatest sportsmen of all time in the league of Ali, Jordan, Pelé.
And 2-time Grand Slam champ Ilie Nastase pointed out that it's not just the individual performance of Federer, but the contribution he made to the sport at large.
I think Federer, sometimes not all the matches he plays with everybody else. He brings his best when he plays Nadal, maybe Murray and Djokovic. When Federer plays, he brings the best in all these players, and the matches are always great.
You might have some wisdom there, Ilie, but sit tight. You're going under the blowtorch later in the show. We're not dealing with an ordinary athlete in Roger Federer. He's one for history. But wouldn't you think that would inspire the young guys to get extra hungry? While we will marvel at Federer for generations to come, The generation below him, well, will more likely wonder where they were at all. They endure impatient superstars and slog through grueling conditions. Are ball boys and ball girls undervalued? For ball boys and girls who make it through the often grueling selection process and earn the right to step out on court at one of the year's majors, you might think it's a great honour, a chance for a youngster to have their mug on TV and stand next to their heroes.
When you walk on court for the first time, there's like no feeling like it when you walk and all the crowds start clapping.
They do get paid a small amount for their services too, but are they actually undervalued? When you see a fired-up top seed simply pointing at them to be handed their dripping, sweaty towel, or watch them scurrying about in the belting sun, which at the Australian Open in summer often gets north of 45 degrees Celsius, it may seem so. It's also sometimes dangerous. At the Shanghai Masters in 2016, Canadian Vasek Pospisil fired a 204km/h serve into a young ball boy. Luckily, Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov was playing Pospisil at the time and consoled the young fella. So maybe not all tennis players are fiery egomaniacs. Or what about Novak Djokovic sharing his umbrella with this lucky young dude? In fact, some of them are genuine larrikins, like American Jack Sock, who was legend enough to swap spots with a ball boy while he was playing Kei Nishikori. That kid will be buzzing on that moment for the rest of his life. However, there are other reasons to think the young professionals might be overvalued. See, in Brazil, they had a crack at letting some four-legged friends try their paws at the jog. And if a dog can fetch a ball on court, why pay a kid to do it? Actually, maybe the ball girls and boys are needed after all. Still to come, reprimanded for his foul behaviour, Ilie Nastase goes under the blowtorch.
Thank you, and finally...
This is Romanian Fed Cup coach Ilie Nastase, shortly after swearing at an umpire and verbally abusing Brit Joanna Konta during her singles match against Sorana Cîrstea in Romania, April 2017. The foul tirade was enough to shake Konta to tears and have the match halted for 25 minutes. Exactly what did Nasty say? Britain's captain, Anne Keithavong, who also wore abuse, gave a hint.
What he said directed to both Johanna and myself is not something I'm going to repeat here because it's language that is not appropriate for anyone to speak to any other human.
But Ilie couldn't see what all the fuss was about. He'd apparently said to the umpire, "It's not the opera. What's your problem?" Konta and most of the world could see the problem. She wasn't receiving any sympathy from her opponent, though.
I don't understand why you keep playing for another game and then suddenly you start crying and, because I cry, I stop. Okay, next time I'm in trouble, I will cry again. Maybe I can go off the court and break the match. This is what I don't agree with.
Unfortunately, it wasn't the only foul thing Nasty did in April. During a press conference at the same Fed Cup, while Simona Halep was talking of the joys of Serena Williams' pregnancy, Ilie was caught in this little moment.
I think it's a good thing for her. It's nice to have a kid, in my opinion. I wish her to have the best that she can have in her life.
Taking Keithavong's lead, we won't repeat exactly what Nasty said, but it was reported he came out with a gross, racist comment about Williams' unborn child. Investigations were launched and Nasty was suspended. Yet, for some insane reason, the Madrid Open still allowed him to attend the awards ceremony. We'll leave you to judge the organisers on that decision. All England club chairman Philip Brook had a very different message regarding Wimbledon.
In terms of an invitation to the Royal Box, he's not going to receive an invitation this year.
Again, Nastase couldn't grasp why he was being singled out, saying, "If I did something stupid at Wimbledon, then I'd understand." Ilie did a good job of wiping filth all over any respect he had left. Nastase isn't a new nickname, by the way. He was world #1 for a while, and Grand Slam chat. You know what? Instead of praising him for anything, take a look at what he really cared about.
I remember when I play my best tennis, I don't have a coach. I have a beautiful girl sitting there.
Gross.
You cannot be serious!